Most entrepreneurs are self-starters. It's pretty tough to get a business up and running without having some amount of self-reliance and self-motivation. At some point, some businesses will get stuck. And so we're talking about how to get unstuck a little bit today. We're talking about peer groups and coaching today. Now, I know I've already covered peer groups before, and I'll cover it again in the future, but I think today's viewpoint on that might help you all understand kind of where I'm coming from with all of this. Every Sunday, I get up and I go to a cycle class. Now, most Sundays, I don't really want to get up. I'd much rather sleep in or get up and have a lazy breakfast and kind of just hang around the house. But because I signed up and it's become my routine, I get up and I get out the door and I go to class. Now, once I go to class, there's a little bit of accountability there. All of the numbers that we're working on show up on a screen. So I don't want to be the person slacking and not doing what the instructor is telling me to do. So I work pretty hard during class. This is a really important thing for me because it really helps me with my physical fitness. But the other piece is it's allowed me to build a routine. My routine happens to be I go to class. After class, I sit down in the hot tub and I typically write a script or kind of work on some of this video stuff that I'm working on. I grab a little bit of breakfast and then I go out and record a video or two. That's become my normal Sunday routine. You might wonder how this relates to peer groups and coaching, and the answer is pretty simple. If you think about the cycle class to a peer group, it's very similar. There's a place to go, time to be there, and some accountability while I'm there, right? Those are big pieces as to the benefit of me being in that cycle class. It's also big benefits for folks to be in a peer group is that you're also in a room with people who are experiencing very similar things that you are. You don't want to show up to a peer group meeting and not have done the things that you should be doing and not have moved things forward like you said you're going to do, right? You don't want to be that slacker in the group. So don't be. Show up to peer groups and get your things done, have things ready to go before you get there, and all those pieces. Also, coming to this peer group meeting forces you to step out of your business for an hour or two or a day or two, depending on the meeting, and focus on your business, right? It's the quintessential working on your business versus working in your business. And being in a group meeting makes it pretty tough for you to be focusing on what's going on inside your business. It forces you to step out. And this is all before you've interacted in the meeting. This is before you've taught anybody anything, you've learned anything from anybody. You've just shown up and you've gotten this benefits. So just being there and participating is huge. Usually what happens is you leave a peer group meeting with some new ideas and some solutions for some problems you've been having. And so you go off and you implement those solutions. And that's really kind of where that homework aspect comes in and you put it into practice, right? That is the benefit of kind of having this kind of a group accountability, group class, those kinds of things. So let's consider the coaching side of the world for a minute. Let's use that fitness example again, right? You hire a personal trainer, you've got sessions to show up to, and when you get there, you're going to work hard, right? That's the whole point. And you're going to continue kind of on and on with that. Well, when you hire a business coach, something very similar happens. You probably have some homework. You already established some accountabilities. You have a regular schedule. All these things kind of will help propel your business forward as long as you lean in and participate within that coaching arrangement. Now, there's a few things I think are worth mentioning that you should be mindful of when you either jump into a peer group or engage with a coaching arrangement, because I've seen some things in my travels. So the first thing is, don't be the person who immediately shoots down an idea that somebody says, right? So I've seen this happen in both coaching and in peer groups where, someone says, I'm having this issue, and somebody else says, hey, I think you should do this thing. And the first person goes, well, that's not going to work for us because blah, 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 right? They give a reason why it's not going to work. And yeah, don't be that person. That's a person that's going to stunt their growth in a big way. A company I was working with before, we had a coach that was working with us and we were paying them a fair amount of money. And every time they turned around, they were like, hey, you should do this. And we would say, I think we're different than that. We're special than that. This hasn't worked for us in the past, so we're not going to try it, right? And we spent a large amount of time not doing what the coach recommended, and that definitely hurt us in the long run. If you're going to hire a coach, hire a coach. If you're going to go to a peer group, listen to the members and the facilitator in your peer group, right? Don't be that person that just immediately says, this isn't going to work for us because of blah, right? There's more to it than that. The second piece of this is do your homework and be prepared for the meetings. Don't just roll into the meeting 5 minutes late and have not thought about the meeting and not thought about what needs to happen between the meeting previous and the current meeting. Make sure you've done a little bit of homework. Make sure that you're prepared for it. The little bit of extra preparation you can do is going to really result in a bigger benefit for you in the long run. You're going to get more out of your coaching and your peer group experience by being prepared for those meetings. So be prepared. The third thing is make sure that you aren't trying to do everything all at once when you come back from a meeting or from a coaching session. There are things you need to do for sure, but you can't take 75 new initiatives on and expect to get them all done because there just isn't enough time in the day, right? Your team is busy. There's lots of other stuff going on. I'll actually put a link to a different video I recorded up above that talks a little bit about not overwhelming your team. I think that's an important thing to be mindful of as it relates to this as well. Do things when they should be done, but don't go crazy trying to over implement or try to do everything at once. It just doesn't work for you or for your team. So with all of that, we've talked about a number of different things. We talked about what coaching and peer groups are, kind of why they're important, to kind of how to get the most out of these relationships. So hopefully you find a little bit of value from that. And if you did, please click that like and subscribe. And with all of that, really appreciate you coming on this ramble with me, and hope to see you on the next one.